viewers, you're watching the latest edition of Republic Defense and I am Rakshita Mishra with you. This edition is going to be dedicated to our forces as we celebrate Republic Day this year. Let's take a look at what do we expect at the Republic Day Parade this year. All right, so ahead of Republic Day 2026, India has sent out a clear message of strength, preparedness and resolve. From battle-hardened tanks and long-range artillery to precision missile systems and cutting-edge anti-drone warfare, the Indian Armed Forces put their operational might on full display. This is not just a ceremonial showcase, viewers, but a demonstration of India's growing indigenous capability and combat readiness. Take a look.
The Republic Day Parade, we witnessed the true military might of the Indian Armed Forces. Leading the armoured formation were the BMP-2 infantry combat vehicles.
We can now see the BMP-2 crossing us. The BMP-2 is a vehicle that is equipped with the main gun, the 155mm gun, and behind that it has a capacity of carrying 7 to 12 crew members. These are used to insert men into high versatile locations. This is the indigenously developed anti-aircraft tracked vehicle by the Indian Army.
The battle-hardened T-90 Bhishma tanks and the indigenous Arjun main battle tanks with high-caliber main guns capable of engaging targets several kilometers away, and these platforms are comparable to America's Abrams and Russia's T-72s.
These are the Arjun Mark I tanks, indigenously developed and deployed in the field. These are the pride of India's nation. With a 155mm smoothbore gun and a range of approximately 800 kilometers. These tanks are been developed by the Indian Army and by the Indigenous Design Bureau of the Indian Army. These armor brigades have been equipped with the Kaveri armor.
With a strike range of around 4 kilometers and fire and forget capability similar to Israel's Spike and the US Javelin, following closely behind was the indigenous Nag anti-tank guided missile system. Rolling in next was the formidable K9 Vajra self-propelled artillery system, which is capable of delivering devastating firepower at ranges exceeding 40 kilometers and giving a tough competition to South Korea's K9 Thunder.
Behind that is the Vajra artillery system. Now these artillery systems are highly mobile, precise, and do away with the requirement of a towed vehicle. This automatically powered, diesel powered generation with 1500 bhp of power and a range of approximately 60 kilometers. This is one of the most powerful vehicles in the Indian Army, having the capability to strike deep into the enemy territory.
Next in line were the anti-drone warfare systems, and these systems provide India the ability to detect, jam and neutralize unmanned aerial threats.
Now this vehicle is of extreme importance because this is the newly developed anti-drone warfare system you can see in the hands of the soldier. This has the capability of using electronic microwave signals to stop drones from coming close to the forces, and this can ensure that drones are stopped without using ammunition or without the use of projectile weapons. This ensures that the cost effectiveness of the attack is reduced by a significant margin.
Alongside them moved the highly agile anti-tank mobile teams. Equipped with portable missile systems capable of striking armored targets from several kilometers away, these teams add speed, flexibility and lethal punch to India's ground combat doctrine. The army showcased a powerful mix of legacy Soviet-era artillery and modern M777 ultra-light howitzers. While older guns reflect decades of battlefield experience, the NATO-grade M777 capable of striking targets up to 30 kilometers.
These are Soviet-era guns that have gotten a new purpose due to the changing nature of warfare. These Soviet-era guns have now been equipped with modern radar and ranging systems, ensuring that they provide a capable defense against drones, incoming drones. Now, this initially was developed as an anti-aircraft gun for low-flying targets, but however, the changing nature of war is such that these guns have gotten a new lease on life and they have a new defined purpose of doing anti-drone warfare for the Indian Army.
The multi-barrel rocket launching systems, including the Pinaka system, followed next, with strike ranges exceeding beyond 70 kilometers and comparable in role to the US HIMARS and Russia's Smerch.
Behind me you can see the multi-barrel rocket launching system. This played a crucial role during Operation Sindoor. The multi-barrel rocket launching system is a Soviet-era designed multi-barrel rocket launcher. This has been developed further by the DRDO and has now an increased capability of 120 kilometers. This multi-barrel rocket launching system has provided Indian Army with the ability to do area denial, accurate attacks, and most importantly, devastating firepower for the Indian Army. Behind that is the Pinaka system that has been developed by the DRDO. This Pinaka system has a multitude of rockets and multitude of rocket types that have been inducted with a range of approximately 90 to 120 kilometers. This is one of the longest range rocket launching systems in the Indian Army. It also played a very crucial role during Operation Sindoor because this has been completely developed in India and has provided the Indian Army with the capability to do deep strikes within the enemy territory without exposing themselves to enemy fire.
Missile systems used during Operation Sindoor were also seen moving past the parade. These platforms underline India's operational readiness and reflect missile capabilities that have been proven in the real-world conditions. The BrahMos and Akash missile systems drew particular attention, with BrahMos the fastest supersonic cruise missile in the world, capable of striking targets close to 300 kilometers away, and Akash providing robust air defense coverage up to 25 kilometers.
This is the BrahMos missile system. This is the most powerful, most lethal missile system in the Indian forces. A supersonic missile system that devastated Pakistan during Operation Sindoor. This is the reason why Pakistan had to back down during Operation Sindoor.
Following these astonishing visuals, we witnessed the ceremonial 21-gun salute. The guns truly showed their might during the firing ceremony. We even spoke with the commanding officer, Major Pawan Shekhawat, regarding the entire ceremony.
First of all, I would like to take this opportunity to mention that it's a matter of immense pride and privilege for the ceremonial battery to provide 21 gun salute on the occasion of 77th Republic Day this year. Now coming on to the significance. 21 gun salute is one of the highest military honor that is given on Republic Day, Independence Day, and whenever head of state visit is there in India.
This truly shows the capability and the might of the Indian Armed Forces.
From high-altitude warfare units and mounted cavalry in full combat gear to unmanned ground vehicles, drone warfare and advanced missile systems, this year's Republic Day Parade reflects a force that is modern, indigenous and operationally ready. With this being the first Republic Day Parade post-Operation Sindoor, our team went on ground in Jaipur and spoke to the officers behind the formidable weapons to understand what it takes to operate them and what they signal about India's defence posture.
We are here with Captain Harshita. She is the contingent commander for the Remount Veterinary Corps. This is the first time this corps is going to be displaying camels, ponies, eagles and dogs during the Republic Day Parade. Let us understand more how this contingent features in the Republic Day. Good morning, ma'am. Please help us understand the types of animals and their roles in the army.
As you must have seen also that this time the Remount Veterinary Corps contingent is very uniquely curated. We are having 2 Bactrian camels from Ladakh, 4 Zanskari ponies, 4 raptors, and then we have army dogs that are taking part in the contingent. Amongst the army dogs, we are using 5 types of indigenous breed.
Ma'am, in the given day and age, drone warfare has become very important, and these kites and these eagles are being used to defend against drones. Could you help us understand how does this training take place?
Yes, so the birds have natural capabilities and that enhances the operational effectiveness. And presently we are training these black kites for anti-drone operations and surveillance purpose. You can also observe that there is a camera mounted on their head, which helps us in surveillance. So that is how their training is being done for these 2 main operational roles.
Ma'am, you mentioned Bactrian camels. What is the unique feature of this camel that gives it a special role in the army?
These animals are highly adaptable and they can work at an altitude of more than 15,000 feet in cold, thin air and steepy terrains. So they are highly, they have a very good endurance and they can be utilized for different purposes such as logistical support and mounted patrolling in cold desert areas of borders.
We are here with Lieutenant Chaudhary. He will be leading the Mixed Scouts contingent during the Republic Day Parade 2026. Let us understand what Scouts are and what is the equipment that they use. Sir, what are Scouts? Could you help us understand that first?
Scouts is basically based on the concept of Sons of the Soil, where recruitment is done from the local area. Because the local troops are well versed with the area and with the weather conditions as well. Scouts is majorly deployed in high altitude and they have exceptional mountaineering skills, whether it be navigating through vertical rock faces, and they have a high endurance in such high altitude areas as well.
Sir, Scouts are normally deployed at high altitudes such as Siachen and other high altitude places. So what are the specific challenges that they have to overcome and what are the challenges that they face at such high altitudes?
I would say we are trained for such conditions and we have done training to operate in such high altitude areas. So this is a part of job and we are very much proficient in what we do.
So what is the specialized equipment that you are showcasing during the 26th January Republic Day Parade?
We are showcasing this specialized clothing. This is called Extreme Cold Weather Clothing System. This is also called a 3-layer suit in which the innermost layer is all black, the middle layer is green and the outer, as you can see, is all white. This is very lightweight and breathable also. This is windproof and waterproof as well.
We are here with Captain Ahan Kumar. He is the contingent commander for 61 Cavalry. The 61 Cavalry has been an integral part of the Republic Day Parade for a very long time. But this year they are doing something different. This year they are in full combat uniform. We'll be talking to Captain Ahan Kumar about this. Sir, why is it that this year we are showcasing the full combat readiness of the 61 Cavalry?
So, since the theme of the parade, we have to showcase the battle array formation and cavalry, which has an operational role of surveillance in cross-country terrain where vehicles cannot enter. and it is difficult for the soldier on foot to travel for long range patrols. That's where horses are used, and we are showcasing our combat role in the parade.
So India is one of the last countries to still have an active cavalry mounted unit. Do you believe that in the current scenario with technology coming up so much, the cavalry still has significance in the army?
Absolutely. In places where even drones can't enter terrain like dense jungle, you need horses for long range patrolling. Apart from that, the training of the army officers and the officers of any defense of the armed forces, it is a very important part to keep horse riding for the development of leadership skills. It teaches offensive spirit and risk-taking ability.
Sir, what kind of weapons would you be showcasing in the 61 Cavalry during the Republic Day Parade this year?
We are carrying AK-203, which is a standard issue weapon of the Indian Army.
We are here with Captain Vikas Yadav, the contingent commander for 1 Gorkha Rifles. The Gorkha Rifles this year are showcasing a lot of mobility vehicles and unmanned vehicles, and we'll be speaking to him about the same. So please tell us about the vehicles that are being displayed at the Republic Day Parade this year.
So as part of infantry contingent, we are showcasing unmanned ground vehicle. This is the first time we are showcasing on Republic Day Parade, and under Atmanirbhar Bharat, we are inducting these vehicles into army. So it is a high payload 4x4 vehicle, which is designed for surveillance, medicine supply, and logistic support across across cross country. The main features of this equipment is the advanced autonomy and self capability. It can navigate through difficult terrains on its own, and it can independently choose its route.
So what are the names of the vehicles that will be showcased during the Republic Day Parade this year?
So the 4 vehicles which we are showcasing this time are, one is Bhairav, other one is Bhuvi Rakshak, one is Nigrah, and other one is Krishna. So these are the 4 vehicles which we are showcasing.
So what are the roles of these vehicles after the names, please?
So there are various means by which we can use these vehicles. Like for surveillance we can use it, and the basic use of these vehicles in infantry, if I can tell you, is the last 100 to 200 meters of battle which infantry earlier used to do with its bayonets and rifles, where the casualty of infantry soldiers was quite high. So to reduce that, to fight that last 100 meters of battle, we are inducting these vehicles. We can mount mission-oriented payloads, mission-oriented weapons on these vehicles, so that we can neutralize the enemy in close combat battle.
We are here with Captain Dibijit Mukherjee. He is the contingent commander for the Drone Shakti, showcasing a lot of the latest tech that is there with the Indian Army. We'll be speaking with him about the types of drones and their significance. Sir, this year Republic Day is the first Republic Day after Operation Sindoor, and we saw the significance of drones during Operation Sindoor. Could you help us understand what types and what are the types of drones that will be showcased during the 26th January parade this year?
Well, as the recent global conflicts have demonstrated, drones have become vital components of multi-domain warfare and help us achieve operational success in the modern battlefield. So, Project Drone Shakti, it symbolizes the Indian Army's integrated framework for the sustenance and development of drones in the forward areas itself. And as far as the drones are concerned, it will deal with all types of drones, be it surveillance drones, logistic drones, and also the kamikaze drones. There will also be precision strike advanced armed drones which are on display on our vehicle, and these are all flagship indigenous drones which have been developed in-house by the Corps of EME to cater to India's specific operational demands. The indigenous flagship drones, namely leading the fleet, is Khadga Chakra. It is an IC engine powered drone which has unmatched long range reconnaissance and surveillance capability. It is also a true symbol of Atmanirbharta since it has been developed in-house. Along with it are the advanced armed drones Baz, Sudarshan, and Navastra 81. These are all precision strike drones which highlight India's growing precision striking potential. Along with it is also a kamikaze drone Shakti.
We are here with Lieutenant Shashank Sharma. Lieutenant Shashank Sharma is the contingent commander for the Nag Namis missile system. This is an anti-tank missile that is mounted on a BMP platform. Let us understand with him what are the features and special features of this particular system. Sir, please tell us what are the features and capabilities of the NAG system.
NAG missile system is developed by DRDO, and this time we have got the NAG missile Mark II. And this time we have got 4 launchers along with 30 mm gun and 7.62 PKT.
Sir, this is being mounted on a Soviet era BMP. Do you believe that this is the right platform for the same?
It is good. It is a good platform. We have seen in different terrains. It operates very well.
The NAG platform is an anti-tank missile with terminal diving capabilities. So, how is it that this is being featured against a Javelin or a man-portable device? How is it different?
Basically, for NAG missile, we are developing it, and we have got the Russian Russian ICV. So, if we compare it with the other Javelin and other anti-tank missiles, we are capable enough to make our own missiles and do operate them.
So let's take you through the preparations of India's air warriors, the Sky Warriors, the Indian Air Force. This year's flypast promises to be a spectacular display of air power and joint operational strength. 8 formations comprising 29 aircraft will take to the skies over the Kartavya Path, including the 16 fighter aircraft, 4 transport aircraft and 9 helicopters from the Indian Air Force, the Indian Army and the Indian Navy. From frontline fighters to force multipliers, the flypast will reflect India's growing aerial dominance. Let's hear it from the guardians of the sky themselves. Thank you so much for watching and Jai Hind.
India is gearing up for a historic 77th Republic Day celebrations. The yearly Republic Day parade set to take place at Kartavya Path, New Delhi, and this year the parade bears a special significance.
This is going to be the first Republic Day parade after Operation Sindoor, and it indeed is a significant one. Operation Sindoor is going to prominently during the 26th January parade.
And that's not all. This year also commemorates the 150th anniversary of India's national song Vande Mataram. Republic struck up a conversation with squadrons and members of the Indian Armed Forces preparing for the prestigious march. Wing Commander Rajesh Deswal, in conversation with Republic, spoke briefly about the aircrafts that will be participating in the flypast.
This year we will have a total of 29 aircraft participating in the Republic Day flypast. If I give you the breakdown of those aircraft, then we will have a total of 16 fighter aircraft, 4 transport aircraft and 9 helicopter aircraft. And if we talk about the formations which have been dedicated towards the Operation Sindoor, then we have 3 formations. They will be Prahar and Garud formations that will be part of the battle array format, and the lead aircraft in the Prahar formation will have the Operation Sindoor flag. And a single powerful composite formation of comprising of 4 types of fighters will be the Sindoor formation. It will have 2 Rafale aircraft, 2 MiG-29 aircraft, 2 Su-30 MKI and a single Jaguar aircraft.
Members of the marching contingent this year were also happy to oblige Republic in talks as to how each stride is going to reflect the achievements of the army, particularly Operation Sindoor.
I'm Squadron Leader Nikita Chaudhary. I'm one of the supernumerary officers who will be walking in the contingent. Yes, as you correctly said, that we usually wake up at 3 in the morning to get ourselves prepared for the training sessions, which starts at 4. And as we have to walk on the Kartavya Path, which is a long route march. So yeah, the training starts early in this chilled weather. So the training is regular, it's intense, but it's our commitment and perseverance that keeps us through.
That was beautifully said, ma'am. Chandrasekhar sir, could you please tell me why is this personally important to you to perform at the Republic Day parade?
The question which is yours, that why it is important for me as a personally, it's just that this feeling does not only belongs to me. It's general feeling with all the armed forces officers or the men which is there, because it's a matter of pride for us that we are representing our Indian Air Force in the marching contingent.
Dinesh sir, this is the first Republic Day parade after Operation Sindoor. How is that significant for you in this parade?
As you saw, Operation Sindoor had been a successful operation for us, but the parade per se it has come up really well. The preparation that we have put this year for the past couple of months, it will be showcased on that day, wherein we'll be marching in unison on that day, and each and every step that we take will be reflected on that day.
This time around, the band performance celebrates an achievement with the first batch of women joining and playing at the parade.
This year we are more focused on Indianization of tune, and हमारा focus ये रहता है कि हमारा own composition, हमारा flavor ज़्यादा उसको showcase करे, and more of the indigenous tunes. And another part is that we are playing Sound Barrier, composed by the MW George BSM, which is Seva Medal. So you will listen that tune on the dais. Just before that you will listen Sare Jaan Se Acha, and before that you will listen Nidar Yoda, and this kind of tunes will be showcasing on the Raspat.
Squadron leader Roop Chandra, who is also the first musical officer from the Northeast and also one holding the position from the Northeast, elaborated on how this music unites the nation one tune at a time.
ये एक country को जो हमारा पैरेड कंटिंजेंट होता है, सर्विसेज का अपना अपना सर्विसेज का जो म्यूजिक होता है, म्यूजिक इज ऑलरेडी रिलेटेड विद ह्यूमन हार्ट, एंड व्हाइल दे आर मार्चिंग एंड एवरीथिंग व्हाट वी प्ले, इट्स अ काइंड ऑफ सेरेमोनियल तौर पर माना जाता है. म्यूजिक ऐसा एक चीज़ है जो जन्म से लेके मरण तक ये हमारे साथ रहता है, समटाइम्स नोइंगली अननोइंगली. तो टू रिड्यूस द फैटिग ऑफ द इंडियन सोल्जर्स इवन व्हाइल मार्चिंग ऑल्सो we introduce music. So music जो है इसमें irrespective of barrier of language, caste, creed, religion, everything, it breaks all the breaks and it brings unity and oneness, and we can enjoy every form of music with anyone. So music itself is a different language.
All eyes now on the prestigious Republic Day parade. The ceremony is slated to begin at 9:30 a.m. with Prime Minister Narendra Modi laying a wreath at the National War Memorial, following which the parade is set to commence at 10:30 a.m.